The College Football Experience 2023 MAC Conference Season Preview and Picks episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, brought to you by our very own Patreon. Yes, score exclusive perks, content and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Once again, it's at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome. Welcome to the College Football Experience 2023 MAC Conference Season Preview and Picks episode. Oh, I'm always excited to talk MACtion. You know what I love about the MACtion? You don't got to worry about expansion. You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's just Old Faithful. It's regional. It's what college football should be. Perhaps you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to. Well, my name is Colby Swigga Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
We are here to talk about the Mid-American Conference. Nothing is better than the MAC, baby. All right. Well, I like our directional battles: Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Eastern Michigan, Ball State, Muncie, Indiana, Buffalo, the Bulls, Toledo Rockets, Kent State, Miami, Ohio, the Bobcats of Ohio, the Zips of Akron, and the Huskies of Northern Illinois. Shout out to Alfred44. Colby is here, and I'm ready for MACtion. Yes, we are. I am joined by my co-host, the DFS god himself. And look, when the college football season kicks, we play DFS every single night that there's football. All right. And we do a podcast where we give away our DFS lineups. So you're going to want to check us out all throughout the year. We talk college football all year long, and this guy, he's the head of he's the tip of the spear when it comes to the DFS side of things. Give it up for the rooftop by PA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free life giving, farmer, Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go, dude. I'm ready to talk some action. What are they? It's 5 states. They all touch each other. It's regionality, man. It's regional football that we love.
It's the heart of college football. It is the heart of college football, and yes, folks, that's
the
what we love about the MAC.
deity. I like it.
I do like that, and if they were to expand, you know what I like about the MAC is they wouldn't say, "Hey, Oregon State, get in this." No, they would say, I think if they were to expand, it would be like, "Hey, Youngstown State, see what you're doing over there. Hey, Northern Iowa, we see what you're doing over there. Hey, Southern Illinois, we see what you're doing over there." And they would all fit, and I'd have no problem because that is college football.
Yeah, even though Northern Iowa would be going into another state, I'd be on board for that. Sure.
Yeah, that's like and you could make a case. I know Middle Tennessee flirted with it a year ago, but Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee, one of them didn't want to go. I think it was Western didn't want to go, but Middle Tennessee flirted with that idea.
In years past, they've had other members like Marshall, for example.
They had UMass randomly for like a year or two.
Good thing they got rid of them. Hey, we're bringing down the Mac.
Yeah. So look, we got a lot to talk about. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Chat's rolling along. 3802, Vinny Villanova, Alfred 44. I mean, Noah Beanick in the chat. We're rolling. But I mean, we got to talk a little bit about the current events.
No, do we have to?
I mean, I
don't
don't
want
really
to focus
want to.
on games.
Yeah, well,
We
Hunter
need
Dekker,
games more than ever. Well, that's interesting news.
he
'cause
focused
we do
on
like
games.
gambling.
Yeah, Hunter Decker's focused on games. He might have focused on games a little too much. But I did enjoy the fact that he took the under on the Iowa State game. So
At least he's not an idiot.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got that going now. Well, one of them was it the kicker that I was reading about of Iowa that had their mom placing bets, or was that Dekkers? I get them all confused because I read about an Iowa basketball player too. I mean, great stuff coming out of the cornfields of Iowa, whether you're Iowa State or Iowa. My thing is if they penciled in on these, if they honed in on these two, not penciled in, right? If they honed in on these two, this has to be going everywhere else. If you're just looking at Iowa and Iowa State and you're finding all these people,
how many Division I football players are there?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
it's happening, outside of Iowa, I'm sure.
But I mean, look, Dekkers wasn't playing in the game, so he wasn't throwing in the game. He was a backup QB at the time. He throw a little action, and the kicker took the under. Now, could he have missed a field goal on purpose? Maybe.
I mean, look, I think both of us are okay with gambling in general, obviously, but I'm fine gambling on your own sport. I'm just not fine gambling on the game that you're playing in. I think that's where you draw the line.
Yeah.
And if they were doing that, it sounds like they were, then there should be some punishment. Now, I don't know what the punishment will be. Is this brand new for the NCAA? I mean, we know in the NFL, we've seen what's happened to a couple players, but are these guys, I mean, is their whole eligibility going to be gone now?
I heard speculation that Dekkers could, which is crazy because this is a guy that could potentially make the NFL. You see Brock Purdy, who started for the 49ers all the way to the playoffs. Dekkers was a pretty big recruit for Iowa State, so you never know where he can.
And we haven't done the Big 12 preview yet, but I really like that over 5.5
Me
for
too.
Iowa State. Now I don't know.
Yeah. I think now things change a little bit there, but the basketball, the guard of Iowa, Aaron Ulis, who's now at Nebraska.
Yeah.
He made 2,000 sports bets on the FanDuel app. Now, this is my favorite part here. He's now at Nebraska. He bet a total of $35,000 under the fake name Anton Porter. Anton Porter, you are welcome to come on the show at any time. All right.
That's a lot of money for a college kid.
That is. And at least one of the bets is believed to be an Iowa game, the team he was on at the time, and that is where you get a little bit sketchy because
you could even take it one step further though, and as long as you're betting on your team, maybe I'm still okay with it.
Yeah,
but if you ever bet against your team, that's where you really cannot do that because then maybe you're throwing the game.
Yeah. Either way, it's something to monitor on our Iowa and Iowa State overs. Stick around for in the coming weeks, we have the Big 10 and Big 12 preview that will be dropping. So shout out to 3802. He goes, he's got nowhere to hide. Every program hammers the rules to recruits. Unfortunately, he's got to take whatever punishment they dish out. Yeah. And he, I'm curious to see whether the NFL, because I don't think Hunter Dekkers is ready to play in the NFL. He would have to go to the USFL or CFL or something, or the ELF in Europe. Go play with Munich's team, the Munich Ravens, to see if he can develop into a good quarterback. It's just not worth it. I mean, at least the basketball player had $35,000 worth of bets. Hunter Dekkers one was like, what was it? I forget it if it was him or the kicker. It was like fucking $50. It's like, what are you doing?
Maybe they should have played DFS instead. Is there any rules against playing DFS?
Well, in the NFL there is, because that's how what's his name, the Bama wideout Calvin Ridley did, right?
That wasn't DFS. That was just gambling.
Was that?
Right?
I thought it was DFS.
I think it was just normal, straight up gambling.
Huh. Well, either way, I'm sure this is going to happen, and people will say this is the problem with legalized sports gambling. No, it's work. Clearly, it's working. Like it's working that we're catching them. Before you would never know. So yeah, Dekkers.
So maybe it's not working.
Yeah. No. Before you would just never know. This was
a good thing. That's a good thing. Let them bet.
No, what do you mean? It's not a good thing.
Well, as long as you're not betting against your team, I'm okay with that. That's what I'm saying.
I agree. Oh yeah. We're on board there.
Right.
And Dekkers' average bet size was $7.
Now that's a college kid bet.
$7. Who gives a fuck? He shouldn't be suspended at all.
Right.
I mean, come on. Come on. What was his biggest bet? $35? Absolutely hilarious. All right, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, because everywhere you look right now, conference realignment. Seems like so the Pac-12 presented so Colorado left for the Big 12. We did an episode on this. Go listen to that episode. But since then, the Pac-12 met with all the remaining 9 school presidents and said, guys, here's our TV package, $20 million per team via Apple streaming service only, which costs $70 a month or $70 a year, I think. And then a monthly charge for Apple Plus. And with the potential that they, based on subscriptions, could get more than the Big 12 schools. And with that being the lone thing, I expect this to be the end of the Pac-9. I would be shocked if any of the schools signed up for that deal. I would be absolutely shocked. So, well,
is there a home for all of them? I mean, it might not be the end of the Pac-10 or Pac-9, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it may just look completely different because, they might. Chances are they're going to lose a few more schools. It seemed like it was coming to this. Like this shouldn't surprise anybody, especially when Colorado left and when they kept on stalling. They were supposed to share these numbers like a month, 2 months ago. A long time ago. They never came out. So you know what? You knew it wasn't going to be a great deal, and it's an awful deal. Like who's going to? First off, not that many people are going to subscribe to Apple, so they weren't going to get those high figures because the number of subscribers wasn't going to hit. That's my personal stance. What do you think? I don't think they were going to get the numbers needed to hit those accelerators.
Oh, 100%. They're not going to, especially, Like, I mean, your best hope would be, I just don't think they would. No. We just saw it with their MLS plan, but I was like, okay, passionate fan bases. The Oregon schools have passionate fan bases. The Washington schools do. Stanford and Cal fans, I don't think care.
Nope.
Utah, I mean, maybe, but I don't really think so. And here's another thing is what I mean is like, I think they're done as a conference. I fully expect over the next 10 days.
Even the WAC survived in some shape and form and fashion. So the Pac-10 is going to be there. It just might only have some. I think so. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm no expert with this whole realignment thing. I think we're both on the same page as we find it, kind of ugly, and really it's all run by TV executives, and it's going to ruin a ton of rivalries. So I'm no expert, but I think they're going to survive somehow. Just it's going to look completely different.
Yeah. Vinny Villanova is talking about how long. Yeah, no, I actually don't. I don't know how it's sustainable here because I fully expect over the next 10 days for Arizona State, and Utah to be announced in the Big 12.
You know what really sucks too is that the Pac-12. I mean, they're in store for a really exciting season.
Yeah.
And this kind of just puts a dark cloud over everything.
Oh, this is all Texas's fault. They're little bitches that started all this shit. But no, honestly, I fully expect Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State to be gone, right? Like soon, any day. By the time people are listening to this, maybe. And I actually think the Big Ten is going to get Oregon and Washington at a discounted price because it's still that discounted price is still going to be higher than $20 million. So they're going to, just like the way Rutgers and Maryland entered the Big Ten, they will jump in there. Potentially Cal and Stanford too. I don't know. They might just go independent. Because here's another thing. Even if Oregon State and Washington State jump to the Mountain West, that might be better for them than right now. Folks, they wouldn't have national exposure on that app.
Yeah, true.
That's what I'm saying. I actually think if they were to jump to the Mountain West, even though I think it's silly for them to be in the Mountain West, because those fan bases have done nothing to deserve this, to not be regarded as a Power 5 school. It's probably a better avenue than sticking around. So
I think that whole label Power 5 is going to fall by the wayside here pretty soon anyway.
Yeah,
you want to call a major conference or something like that, okay, but yeah, go ahead.
College football is destroying itself. Look, I want to talk optimistically about the future of the sport, but I don't see it. I don't see it as I see myself being more aligned with whatever the group of 5 becomes or the FCS, because I don't care to see Washington and fucking Rutgers, man. It's football, sure, but we're not going to have the Apple Cup. We're not going to have the Civil War between Oregon and Oregon State. The only good thing about the Utah joining the Big 12 is we get the Holy War back, and then Arizona State, if they stay together, then we have the what do they call it? The Territorial Cup, aka the Dust Bowl, stays intact. But
little dust up.
Yeah, a little dust up. But then you have Florida State's president. They had a board of meetings today, and I mean, Florida State's president saying basically, we're looking at our options to get the fuck out of here. Like, and we're not staying here. He said it was very unlikely that we're in the ACC in the coming future. Drew Weatherford, one of their Florida State trustees, said it's not a matter of if we leave the ACC, but how and when we leave. Which, from what I understand, they're going to be out of the ACC. A lot of people think in the next 2 years. So this could be in 10 days. And the SEC apparently is not one of those looking to get Florida State at the moment. So it would be either the Big 10 or the Big 12. All this shit's ridiculous. Once again,
the SEC could right now. The SEC says they're fine at 16. They don't want to expand, but if they see the Big 10 grab a couple, then it's probably going to become an arms race, and then they could quickly turn on that.
Well, here's why they don't want to do Florida State, because the ACC has the ESPN deal with Florida State.
Well,
ESPN,
the grant rights thing.
Yeah, well, that thing too. But ESPN also doesn't want Florida State to join the SEC because they're getting them at a discounted rate.
Oh,
so yeah,
sense.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's got to be the Big 12 or the Big 10. I think it's just a mess, man. The thought of seeing, hey, we got Iowa and Florida State playing today. It's fucking stupid.
We do like regional football. That's the one thing about great where I live. College sports reigns supreme here. So if I go to like a neighborhood barbecue, I know I'm gonna run into a couple NC State guys, a UNC guy, probably an ECU guy, maybe an App guy. And not everybody has to be in the same conference, but the less these guys play each other, the worse it is for all fans. So I don't think anybody, like, I know some conferences are kind of giddy, like, Big 12 fans, especially. Like I remember when the ACC originally expanded and they added, Boston College and Syracuse and Pitt. I wasn't happy about that. I was like, I kind of understood why they were doing it, which I think is the same thing as Big 12 fans now, but I'm not happy about it because in basketball, you lose your home and aways. In football, you don't play everybody. There's going to be teams you don't play for 4 or 5 years. It's not going to feel like a tight knit conference. It's not going to feel like the MAC. The MAC is a tight knit conference.
Yeah.
The Sun Belt is a tight knit conference.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying is I actually think the greed, and Pat Forty wrote a great article about this. I texted you it a few minutes before we went live on. I think the greed in driving Power 5 college football could be the downfall of the sport. I know people think like, okay, this is great. We keep, how much is enough? They act like I was wondering this question. What is the correct amount? If the ACC and Florida State are getting $30-some million a year, $35 million a year, whatever, how much do you really need to have a good football team? Because even your NIL collectives, it doesn't accommodate for $35 million.
Yeah, I just think, if Florida State sees that Florida is making double their money, they feel like they are at a competitive disadvantage. Which, sure. I mean, it's true, but you're right. I mean, do more with less, I suppose. But I mean, every school should be trying to earn as much money as possible. You can't blame the individual schools for trying to make more.
Yeah, well, no, you can if they ignore what is the success and making, like what is the thing that made this thing so loved by all of us, and that is the fact we do see Florida and Florida State every year. The fact that we do see Miami and Florida State every year, or whatever the example you want to use.
Yeah, I mean, but Florida State has never been like a big time ACC member. They were signed up in the ACC in the mid '90s or something.
Early '90s, I think.
Early '90s. If anything, the ACC would be in better position if Florida State would have kept their success on the football field, but they've sucked for a long time now. So I don't feel like they were ever like married into the ACC. It was they joined. It was convenient, but they weren't like an old school ACC member. So I don't think they have any necessarily deep ties to the conference.
True, but I mean, what they do, I mean, Miami, Florida State, that was a rivalry we would see all the time, and I can tell you,
but they played before they were conference members.
Yeah, true, but if I would assume if Florida State and this is all speculation, I'm saying if they join the Big Ten, I would assume that would mean the death of the Florida State rivalry, because I don't think they're going to be playing each other in the non-con. So
probably
same with USC Notre Dame. Right. That one's already. I think the contract's up in 25, and they're trying to use that as leverage for Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. It's all disgusting, and I see right now as we're doing this show that the Arizona Board of Regents has scheduled a meeting for tomorrow night. I would expect that they are going to be, because they're together, Arizona and Arizona State. So
either way, TV execs may be trying to kill the sport, but they won't, because college football will always survive. And there's enough teams and enough leagues where maybe you're turned off by a couple, but there's always going to be good college football close to where you live, because it's nationwide. So let's not get too down in the dumps, because we do have games, live games in about 3 weeks.
And we do host the FCS College Football Experience. And look, the MAC is, the MAC is still beautiful. The MAC is exactly Sun Belt, even the Mountain West. I would say those three still, to me, the blueprint of college sports and what we like. Shout out to Weehawk. He's talking about point shaving. If interested, go read it. Yeah, folks, check it out. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/The College Experience. And we're talking about Pete Rose. The chat's getting fine. Dick Gersberger's in there. Shit's flying around talking about good old gambling stories. Look, let's get to it, man. Before we're gonna start talking MAC. Go through who we think will be in the MAC championship and where our win totals reside within the MAC conference. But before I do that, I want to tell you folks out there that the College Football Experience 2023 MAC season preview episodes brought to you by our Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Yes, Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon is it's just perfect. It's perfect fit for any diehard DGen. Sign up for the Patreon to get exclusive access to all of our contests, including the NFL win totals contest. $1,000 for first place here. Let's go. Plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast. You want to hear how Patty C broke both of his wrists on a game of Tecmo Bowl? I can tell you that. Look, and
involve punching a wall, maybe.
Yeah, they don't ruin the fucking story. They're supposed to be able to hop in there to get the all access.
That was a lucky guess.
Yeah, alcohol was involved. All right, but you're gonna get the best stories from decades of being DGens. There's even a Discord channel for the patrons. The Sports Gambling Podcast. You need to know this. Sports Gambling Podcast has and always will give out their picks for free. All right, we're not scumbags over here. Call 1-800-PICK Dundee. Give us $100. I'll tell you if Kent State's going to win. No, we're not going to do that. All right. So this is just a way to support our network and fight back against corporate gambling and all those hacks and jabronis out there. Come on. All right. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Once again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. All right. We are back on the MAC 2023 season preview and picks episode. Well, what'd you make of the MAC last year, NC Nick?
If I have one MAC team, it's Ohio. I always kind of root for the Bobcats, and they were looking really good before that Rourke injury. But the MAC it delivers, man. The Tuesday, Wednesday nights, it's always fun. it's always crazy. If one conference can be like turned on its head from one year to the next, it's the MAC. And I have a couple stats that back that up. So there's been no repeat teams in the championship game from either division since 2015. So I'm saying like 1 year after the next in either division. So if you go back and take a quick look, let me pull it up here. I had it in front of me at some point between 2013 and 2015. Every year for 3 years in a row, it was Northern Illinois versus Bowling Green in the championship. Since then, every team has made the championship except for Eastern Michigan. 11 out of the 12. And this is a crazy conference where 1 year you can be 2-10, the next you can be 9-3, and win the whole
look
thing.
no further than Northern Illinois a season ago.
There you go.
But yeah, okay. Well, look, we're gonna start off with the lowest win total, and that is the Golden Flashes of Kent State. And here's what I do like about college football: when you go out and hire a Kenny Burns, the history of baseball is on PBS. Ken Burns, the head coach of Kent State. Yeah, I mean, look, he does great work with the Civil War documentaries, and I'm excited about this. So Sean Lewis, the head coach of Kent State, he got sick of. Remember that non-con last year?
That's ridiculous.
You remember that non-con?
The last couple
Georgia,
years.
at Oklahoma, at Washington. It's like, okay, dude, what the fuck are we supposed to do here?
Last year in the first 4 games, it was at Washington, at Oklahoma, at Georgia. The year before that, it was at A&M, at Iowa, at Maryland. A little bit easier in 21, but still, and they always sprinkle in one FCS team. So every year you're 1-3 outside your league. You know, it's
hard to build fan excitement.
I swear.
Yeah. They're just collecting the paycheck, but Kenny Burns. So Sean Lewis off to Colorado to be an offensive coordinator. He didn't get fired. He just said, you know what? I had enough of these fucking games playing top 10 schools.
You did a good job there too.
He did a great job. And you saw how talented that team was. When you look and see Colin Schlee might be the starting quarterback at UCLA. Both their wideouts, one penciled in to be a starter at Penn State, the other at North Carolina. Their running back is Cooper's penciled in starter at Ball State. So I mean, shit, he was doing a damn good job.
They were just in the MAC championship in 21.
Yeah, and yeah. So now Kent State goes to the Kenny Burns route, and look, the non-con, although lighter, still terrible. At UCF, now they're a Power 5. In their first ever Power 5 game. And then at Arkansas, Sam Pulled Pork Pittman going to be there. And then they get the FCS of Central Connecticut State, which will and should be a win. And then at Fresno State, the team that won the Mountain West. They're going to go 1-3 in the non-con, buddy. That's
obviously. So
they better not fuck around and lose to the Blue Devils, the real Blue Devils, some say, of Central Connecticut State.
I think I was listening to y'all's preview. I think you did that with the man of the box, right?
Yeah,
which is a hilarious preview. Go check out the Kent State preview there. But I was counting at least 17 players transferring out. Their experience chart is 132nd in the nation. On offense, they have 0 returning starters. On defense, only 4 returning starters. You don't see that very often. We've been doing this for 5 years now, and you don't see that very often at all. So it is a complete overhaul, a complete rebuilding job, and they go 1-3 outside the MAC.
Buddy, this is. I'm going to start things off with a lock.
That might be their only win.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You look then after that, Miami, Ohio, who once again, I know you mentioned how Kurtis Rourke, and these are the breaks, is back, but he got injured, or arguably Ohio might've been the best team that might've took home a MAC championship last year.
Right.
Well, they get both injured quarterbacks from a season ago, back to back after Fresno. After coming back from Fresno, Miami, Ohio was in that same bin where their offense was terrible last year because Brett Gabbert got injured in their Power 5 game. I think it was against, was it Northwestern? One of the Power 5 teams they played, Kentucky, maybe one of the two. He got out for the year. and he's the brother of Blaine Gabbert, the legendary Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback. I expect that offense to be a lot better. The Miami Ohio defense was actually really good last year. So you play Miami Ohio, in my mind, is a legit contender to win the conference. And then the very next week you're at Ohio, who's a legit contender to win the conference. And then the very next week you're at Eastern Michigan, who's a legit contender to win the conference. So this is going to be a brutal start to the season. You better beat Central Connecticut State, because I don't see any way you win. And then after that, you're home to Buffalo, who was a ball team a year ago. So
maybe you can pull out one in those last 5 games, because the last 5 games, it lightens up a little bit. 3 of them are at home. The road trips aren't too bad. Maybe they get 1 conference win, but that would still be at 2, still at an under. It sounds like we're on the same page here to start things off with an under. And
I just don't see it. Like, if anything, Akron, I think, is in a much better place going into year 2. I'm very high on Akron, as you'll hear me saying a little bit here. Bowling Green was a bowl team. Now that Bowling Green's a weird team, maybe they could beat them, but I expect Ball State and Northern Illinois to be in the mix for a MAC championship. That's the problem. They do avoid Toledo, which you're saying, oh, they avoid the MAC champs. But they don't get Western Michigan, which I think would be their best shot at another conference win.
Yeah. If you say there's the 2 worst teams, one from each division, it looks like Western Michigan and Kent State. So everybody else is, I think, at least a solid football team. And I don't see Kent State beating any solid football teams this year.
It's a lock. I'm starting off. Look, folks, I know last week on the, or on Saturday on the, what was it? ACC? No. Conference USA. USA. I didn't give away. I wasn't too lock friendly. Well, I'm starting things off lock friendly here. I will lock up the under on the Golden Flashes of Kent State.
I was definitely on the under. You talked me into it. I'll lock it up with you.
Build me a case of 3 wins.
It's tough. I mean, obviously Central Connecticut's going to be one of them, and then you probably want to look at home games. Can they beat Bowling Green to Northern Illinois? Probably not. Maybe one.
Maybe one.
Maybe one.
Best case scenario 1 here. So
right.
I know insert lock music here. We need lock music. We've been sued. We need lock music. So if anyone out there is creating music, I don't know, get at me. But yeah, I'll lock it up. This is a lock all day. I mean, what music can we play that won't get me sued? Here, let's go with this will be the lock music. We are locking up Kent State Gold Flash under 2.5 wins. Let's go.
And I already feel better that Iveta agrees with us. So there you go. Hammer it.
Let's go. All right. Now we jump over to the team with the second lowest win total here. That is the Broncos out in Kalamazoo. Check out Waldo's for the liquor pitchers. So I just touched on how Kent State's not on Western Michigan's schedule, which I think if you're a Western Michigan fan, you're saying, damn it. We want Kent State on that schedule. They are breaking in a brand new head coach coming over. Lance Taylor, the former offensive coordinator of the Louisville Cardinals, was previously at Notre Dame before that. Brand new head coach. They got rid of Tim Lester, told him to hit the road. And now 3.5 win total.
They won 5 last year.
That's what I'm saying. But there's the whole team. Sean Tyler, PJ Fleck doing no favors to his old stomping grounds, because he went and he got Corey Coombs, their wide receiver, and then Sean Tyler, and just their whole team got raided. But Florida State came in,
pretty active in the portal themselves, and they brought in some guys like quarterback Hayden Wolf from Old Dominion, who's serviceable. I brought in some nice
FCS transfers. I was doing the FCS preview. Subscribe to the FCS college football experience. They brought in some nice FCS transfers. I do think they're in a little bit better shape.
I was going to say Keyshawn King, the running back from Virginia Tech, who I think is pretty good. I think he'll be a lot better in the MAC. And 4 of 5 offensive linemen are back. Starters return. So Western Michigan, I think, is definitely a lot better than Kent State. Now, there's still a brand new coach, a lack of talent overall.
And there is the non-con. This year's Kent State, perhaps Western Michigan. They're at Syracuse, at Iowa, and at Mississippi State. Those are 3 bowl teams from a year ago. All 3 Power 5s. And then Their FCS is St. Francis, who happened to make the FCS playoffs a year ago. Now I will say this: St. Francis did get rated in the portal, and one of Western Michigan's additions was from St. Francis. That's some next level coaching. I like. If you're a brand new coach, I think you should attack the teams that are on your schedule in the portal.
And
that's a genius move.
St. Francis took Akron to overtime in the season opener last year, and you would think Western Michigan is about the same level as Akron was last year. Both were starting, with brand new head coaches and depleted rosters, so that could be a game.
St. Francis is returning their stud quarterback, but they lost a lot of production, man. Like their top defensive guy, I think, went to Maryland. They're both their wideouts are now. Actually, maybe that was Maryland and App State actually grabbed their other starting wideout. I'm going to say Western Michigan beat St. Francis.
I agree,
but watch out. If you play shitty, you will lose this game. You know what I mean?
For sure. And so they're 1-0, and then go down the schedule and tell me when their next win is coming.
And our number's what, 3.5, right?
3.5. Okay.
So at Syracuse, no, not going to happen. I know they lose, some Rocky Long's coming in though. They got, you could argue Syracuse got better in the offseason.
This isn't the same Western Michigan team that won at Pitt a couple years ago.
yeah. They fired that coach.
I thought he was doing a solid job too.
I thought so too. I don't know. Who do you think you are, Western Michigan? What the fuck's going on? At Iowa?
No.
I don't think they're going to score a touchdown in that game. Can we go ahead and make that prediction? If you can find that at your local book, Western Michigan to have 0 touchdowns in Kinnick at Iowa State. I don't care
Final
how many
score,
people,
30-3.
Yeah, I don't care how many people are gambling on that game. How many people are suspended for gambling for the Hawkeyes? Then hey, who's the genius that did this right after Iowa? Shout out to the MAC, whoever's aligning the schedule, because Toledo back-to-back away unnecessarily 3 straight away games at the Carrier Dome, at Kinnick, and then the Glass Bowl to take on the reigning champs in the MAC. No favors there. They will be 1-3. What are you doing here?
Oh, completely. Yeah. I'm looking even past there, and I still don't see wins. They also get Ohio from the East at Ohio. There's the schedule's tough, so from the East, they get Miami of Ohio, and Bowling Green.
They might be able to get Bowling Green in the end of the season. Here's what I like about this, right? So look, the rest of the schedule is home at Toledo. It's home to Ball State, at Mississippi State in October. Yeah. Weird. Then home to Miami, at Ohio, at Eastern Michigan. They are going to be 1-7 at the bye or something.
Then there's a couple winnable games. Maybe Central Michigan, maybe Bowling Green. They're still not getting to 4 though.
I don't think Central Michigan's winnable. I think Bowling Green is the one you circle. I will also take the under on Western Michigan. Maybe they get a third game there. I'm not gonna. Should we lock this one? I feel pretty good about it.
I'm not gonna, dude.
Build me 4 wins here. Build me 4 wins. St. Francis, who they could lose to, might I add, because that's the one thing about comparing this to Kent State's. Central Connecticut State is terrible. St. Francis went to the FCS playoffs a year ago. So
the more we're talking this up, I mean, I can see 3 wins. I don't see them winning a road game this year because the road games are pretty tough. Their first 2 conference home games are Ball State and Miami of Ohio. I'm actually pretty high on both those teams. Yeah. I don't think they win either of those.
Dude, I'm locking it.
Yeah.
This is an under party here. All right. This is a dead man's
I'm with
party.
you. I'm not going to lock it just yet, but yeah, I mean, let's go under.
Lock up the fucking under. Sorry. Look, you're going to need to get to Waldo's for those liquor pitchers. This is going to be a tough season without your boy Tim Lester.
I will say I have not had much luck locking up MAC teams in years past because, like we said earlier, the MAC gets wacky. But, man, it sure looks like I don't see them getting to 4.
It is true. Like, you'll get like a blizzard to come through, and they'll play, and you'll be like, "How the fuck did this team was a 26-point dog, and they won outright?" All right, let's jump on over. So look, I'm just going to start things off with a bang. I know you guys are going to say I'm crazy because I have 3 locks to start the show, but it's going to cool off after that. I am taking you now to Akron, where I am very, very bullish. DJ Irons, Jeff Undercuffler, both quarterbacks are back for the Zips. And Joe Moorhead, do I need to bring up the fact that a year ago there was growing pains? There was 100% growing pains. But take a look at the end of the year. And I think this is where you get excited if you're a Zip fan. They continue to brought in a 5-star running back transfer from Florida. 5-star in the max. Haven't happened since Randy Moss.
Lorenzo Lingard started at Miami, I believe. He played 1 year in Miami, transferred to Florida. Yeah,
that questionable character, but no. So Akron beat St. Francis in overtime last year, who made the FCS playoffs. Then they got destroyed. But as the season went along, man, I became more and more sold on this. They should have beat Buffalo to end the season. They were running out the clock and fumbled. So they lose by 1 to Buffalo. They lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, 6 games by 9 points or less a season ago. And man, that's won.
A good sign for year 1, because usually year 2 they're going to win a couple of those, and that gets you flirting with bowl eligibility.
Yeah, and look, I know the chat is talking about this right now, so I want to just touch base on this. I know we have a lot more to go through, but Akron's plus 3,500 to win the MAC. I don't think that's a crazy. Look, I mean, I know we have our teams that we favor, like Ohio and Toledo and Miami, Ohio, and maybe Eastern Michigan or Ball State, but I don't think that's that crazy of a play, because I know that roster is deep with Power 5 guys.
I just told you in the last 7 years, there's been no back-to-back representative of their division. So on paper, you see Ohio and Toledo as the best teams, but they were in the championship last year. There's no guarantee that those two teams are going to be in the championship this year. It's not like going against Georgia in the SEC East. This is the MAC where crazy shit happens. So I could definitely see Akron bumping up there like 2 years ago, like Northern Illinois did.
Yeah, and when you see a win total sitting at 4, I laugh at this, because week 1, and I'm going to be glued to this terrible game at the link, right? I think Akron is a live dog at the link.
I haven't seen a spread for this yet. Have you?
I would just assume Temple's going to be favored,
but not by much.
I mean, I like EJ Warner. Like a 7-point favorite. Let me see if I can find this. Let me see if I can find this right now.
I like what EJ Warner, the son of Kurt Warner, did in his freshman season for Temple. It's not like it's going into a crazy road environment, So I think it's a 50-50 game. I'm not, even though I like Akron, I like some of the pieces they have. Like they probably have the best 1-2. What's the spread?
Temple laying 10.5.
Ooh, that much. Damn.
Akron plus 285 on the money line. Let's fucking go.
I was just going to say, I think Akron might have the best 1-2 receiver combo in all the MAC with Daniel George and Alex Adams. And they also have 4 of 5 offensive linemen returning. Now, the defense was in the bottom half of the MAC a year ago, but I think that improves a second year in the system. Last year, they brought in a ton of P5 transfers. I think you're going to start seeing that talent. I think that that defense is probably going to be in the top half this year.
I mean, I love their backfield too. I mean, you have quarterback depth because Undercuffler started games both in the FCS and last year, and DJ Irons. And then when you have Lingard, the Florida transfer, but mixed with they have a slew of running backs in the backfield. That the Arizona transfer Anderson. They also have the Kansas State transfer in Price. I like this team. I think this team is pretty good.
Conference schedule, they don't get Toledo from the West, which helps. Of course, they don't get Western Michigan either, which would have been nice. But so the question is, can they go 2-2 out of conference?
They can. And I look, I don't know that Temple game. I think that Akron could win that game outright. Now, the defense obviously has to, like, Stan Drayton impressed me in year 1 at Temple despite a bad year. It's kind of a 50-50 game to me. So let's play devil's advocate and say that's a loss. Then they get Morgan State. That's a win, right? Out of the MEAC. Then they're at Kentucky. That's a loss.
Yeah.
So they're 1-2, and then they're at Indiana back-to-back away. Look,
that's not a surefire loss.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say, like, Indiana should have lost to Western Kentucky last year. They almost lost to Idaho. Now, let's play devil's advocate. Indiana wins 1-3, right? You're home to Buffalo on September 30th. I think Akron has this game circled. They should have beat them last year. They're running out the clock and they fumble the ball, and Buffalo ends up picking it up. And then in the final seconds, they end up making a field goal to win the game. It ain't happening here. I got Akron winning their second game against the Bulls of Buffalo.
I'll have Akron winning one of these 2 home games against Buffalo, against Northern Illinois. So I'm at 2-4 at the halfway point.
Wouldn't shock me if it was 3, right?
Yeah,
but I'll even play devil's advocate and say Northern Illinois wins that game, right? Sure. Then at Central Michigan, I favor Central Michigan, but I still think it's kind of a 50-50 game, right?
Yeah. So this is a back-to-back road trip at Central Michigan, at Bowling Green. I kind of want to give them one of those.
Definitely. I think they can beat Bowling Green. I think they're a better roster.
So they're at 3-5.
3-5, and like I said, I still wouldn't be surprised if they were 5-3. I wouldn't be that surprised if they were 5-3 right there.
The Kent State one at home next is a surefire win. So there you go. You're pushing already.
And then they're at Miami, at Eastern Michigan, and home to Ohio. I understand those are 3.
Tough way to end it.
I just think 5. I think they're going to a bowl. I think they're going to go 6-6 this year. Maybe even I just think from a talent perspective on their roster, I think you can make a case they are the most talented roster. Maybe Toledo would be like the one that I would say, okay, Toledo's roster is probably more talented, but I think they're right there with them. And I love the over here, and I'm gonna once again, I'm locking up Akron on the over.
I'm on the over. I'm not gonna lock it up. Let's not forget this is a team that won 2 games last year. So I mean, the good thing is here, I think the floor is 4 wins. So I think you're safe to at least push. So certainly not a bad bet. I think this is a 4 or a 5 win team, maybe a 6 win team if everything bounces right. So I like to play by you. I'm going to refrain from locking it though. I'm still on the over.
Can I also make this case here of like, well, I mean, I guess it's not that valid of a case, but he had a gigantic jump when he was at Fordham. Joe Moorhead did in year 2. He went from 6-5 to 12-2 to the FCS playoffs. Now I know year 2 at Mississippi State was not the same, but they also had there was a crazy stuff behind the scenes happening. So he went from 8-5 to 6-7, but I don't even think he coached the bowl game. So 6-6, I think would be what he did there. But I just think they're going to be a much better team. So, all right, next we jump over to NC Nick. You didn't lock up Western Michigan, did you?
No.
I
don't throw out my locks out there all willy-nilly like you, man.
So that's why I normally take home the trophy. All right, let's go to. I mean, wait, Ball State's over under is at 4.5. Can you double check that?
Yeah, I know. I was looking at it today. Here, all right, I'll double check it.
So you're telling me I'm starting off this show with fucking 4 locks?
Wow, that's funny because I was, I didn't touch the last 2, but I like Ball State this year, and I was going to hammer the over. I'm checking right now, unless Noah can double check if there's been any.
I could have swore when I did the Ball State.
Now
preview.
There's some juice. No, it's over 4.5. Now it's -145, so you got some juice on that. But I'm willing to lay -145 because I do like Ball State this year. And yeah, Carson Lexington Steele is gone, but as you alluded to earlier, Marquez Cooper comes in, who has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. I would argue he's probably pretty comparable to Lexington Steele.
Well, I actually think he can make the offense a little more look, Carson Steele's a great power rusher, but Cooper you can use him out of the backfield.
He's
lot.
electric, man.
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah.
And I love Layne Hatcher. coming over. Now, this guy's been a well-traveled quarterback. He was at Texas State.
Formerly played at Alabama.
He was at Arkansas State. The dude has over 10,000 career collegiate passing yards and 84 touchdowns. I know John Paddock transferred out. I think this is an upgrade over Paddock from last year.
I do too.
So
he's much more mobile too, in my opinion.
So I like a lot of what I see from Ball State here. Defensively, their whole front seven returns. Now the secondary, that could be there's zero DBs back, so the secondary might be a little iffy. But this was number 4 total defense, MAC defense last year. I think it's going to get better too.
Secondary brings in an Illinois transfer, D.D. Snyder from an Illinois defense was number 1 in the nation last year. So I like that, and you know what I like too. They miss Ohio, who was a 10-win team in the MAC a year ago. They miss Buffalo, who was a bowl team in the MAC. And I just said, I think Akron's going to be a bowl team. They don't play Akron either. So to me, they're missing 3 quality opponents that favors. Now, obviously the non-con's absolutely fucking brutal.
I mean, not quite as bad as others because there's only 2 Power 5s and they actually have 2 home games non-con. So they have Indiana State and Georgia Southern, which is a winnable game. Yeah.
What Buffalo beat Georgia Southern in the bowl game. So look, the non-con is at Kentucky week 1, then at Georgia, then the reigning national champions. They're gonna be 0-2, and then Indiana State's a tricky game though, buddy. Indiana State's a really tricky game because that's right there. Indiana State almost knocked off North Dakota State last year. They're projected to be pretty good this year. That's a rivalry game. Watch out. I think they get through that though. They get their first win of the season. And then do you have them beating Georgia Southern? Because I don't.
I think Georgia Southern's better. So
yeah,
I think it's a 50-50 game, and you have to like the fact that it's at home in Muncie for Ball State. But let's err on the side of caution and say they lose that and they're 1-3 entering MAC play.
Well, you know what I like is to me, the 3 teams that I think are the worst are Western Michigan, Kent State, and Bowling Green, and all 3 are on the schedule. Yep. Let's get to it. They go to Waldo's, not for the liquor pitchers, to the stadium in Kalamazoo. That's going to be a win, and you're talking 2-3.
Yeah.
Then they're at Eastern Michigan, and I think this is a 50. I truly believe this is a 50-50 game. Like Chris Creighton plays every game close. They don't. The better quarterback does reside in Muncie, so. Or on Ball State's side, this game's in Ypsilanti. Yeah,
I'm just waiting for Noah to correct you on that.
Yeah, Ypsilanti. You know what? We didn't give them Georgia Southern as a win. Fuck it. I'll say they get one between Eastern Michigan, Toledo. Give me one of those.
I was going to say I had them losing to Eastern Michigan, but I have them surprising Toledo, beating Toledo at home. Like Toledo is, probably the best team in the West, but it's not like they're head and shoulders above other teams. So I expect Toledo to have a couple losses in conference, and it's kind of a tough road trip. So I have them beating so far. I have them at 3-4.
Yeah. And then they have homecoming against Central Michigan. I did somehow get an email from Jim McElwain apologizing. I don't know how I got this email because I'm definitely not involved with the alumni of the Chippewas, but I did get an email, or someone sent me an email showing an email to the alumni saying it's on him. It's on him last year. Well, it's going to be on him on October 21st because I got no idea who's winning this game. I think Central Michigan is better than what we think, but I mean, this is like a field goal game.
It really is. I'm going to go with the home team.
Okay. So that would make us what?
I'm 4-4.
4-4. They get a bye week. Now this is where I love the end of this schedule because they're at the Doit taking on Bowling Green on November 1st. It's a win to me.
I have been winning one of these 2 road games at Bowling Green at Northern Illinois. So that gets me up to 5 already. So I'm already at the over, looking good with 2 games to go.
Yeah. And one of them is against Kent State. They're
6.
home to, and then they're home to Miami. I do think it's like a 6-6 team. Worst case scenario, 5-7. You're still on the over, right?
Yeah, and one more thing too is Ball State has 4 straight years winning at least 5. So if anything, I see with their 7 stars on offense back, 7 stars on defense back, I don't see them taking a step back this year. I think they still win at least 5, if not get to 6 or 7, and a bowl game. So I'm gonna smash you over here too.
And Noah's in there saying best price Ball State over flat 5 wins is plus 105 at BetMGM, folks. So get on there. We are locking up the Ball State Cardinal over 4.5 wins. Let's go. Next, we hop on over to the Bowling Green Falcons and Scotty Leffler at 5 wins, just a flat 5 wins for the Falcons, who made a bowl a year ago, lost to Jerry Killen, New Mexico State in that bowl. Look, they lost a ton of production from a year ago. They were a senior team a year ago.
Last year, I think they came in top 3 in the country in returning experience.
Yeah, and I know he's been recruiting better, so you can say, well, those guys are out. The next guys are up. They also lost their starting wideout to Arkansas. So there's some issues there. The non-con for the Bowling Green Falcons. Now they do get Liberty game 1, and I do think if you wanted to play Liberty, that's where you want to get them. Where Jamie Chadwell's had, his offense is very, very different than Hugh Freeze's. I still favor Liberty though. You?
Yeah, especially on the road. So one thing to talk about before we deep dive into the schedule, Connor Bazelak is here.
Not a big fan.
The well-traveled, the former Missouri Tiger, the former Indiana Hoosier.
At Missouri, I saw flashes of it. I was like, oh, he's all right. And then
I think in the MAC, I think it's a decent get for them. I'm curious as to see how he plays here. Offensive line, a ton of transfers, but Loeffler is apparently he feels pretty good about it.
Loeffler.
Oh, whatever. Defense, 10th in the MAC last year. Really bad versus the run, and only 5 back, and the defensive coordinator left also. So I have major question marks about this defense.
Yeah, and like I said, the non-con at Liberty, home to Eastern Illinois, winnable. They lost to their FCS last year in Eastern Kentucky.
That's true.
But Eastern Illinois
better though, right?
Yeah, exactly. Eastern Kentucky's a lot better. So I'm going to say they're 1-1 to open things up.
Agreed.
Then they're at Michigan. One of those tough Michigan road games, or home games that's Jim Harbaugh will be suspended for. One of those great non-con games that Michigan scheduled, Noah.
And since that was correcting everybody's pronunciation, I think Michigan is out of conference schedule is pronounced pussy.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
And that's with a strong P, right? Capitalize that.
That hard P.
So I got them 1-2 in the first 2 weeks, and then they're home to the Bobcats of Ohio, 1-3.
Yeah.
And then they're at Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech did lose their last game against a MAC opponent, I believe, to Northern
Illinois, I believe,
yeah.
Right?
So that scares me a little bit, but I will take Georgia Tech to win that game. So I have them at 1-4. And then it's a back-to-back away. They got to go to Jagerbaum Stadium and
back to back away.
Yeah. 1-5, 1-6, 1-6.
Yep.
And then they're hosting Akron, which I told you already on the Akron one. I think Akron's a better team. So 1-7. Huh. Then they got a bye week and they're home to Ball State.
They're going to get one of those home games.
They are going to dude. That could be critical in our over on the on Akron or Ball State.
Yeah. I think Bowling Green gets one of them, and then they probably get at Kent State, which gets them to 3.
They're gonna get the 4 because of Western Michigan's on the schedule later. No, but I called for Western Michigan to maybe beat them. No, I'm on the under. They're not hitting.
Too.
Yeah, there's no way.
The under's got a lot of juice at -155. So I'm not gonna lock it, not gonna bet it, but I think under looks pretty good.
Yeah. Not locking it, not betting it. That's the first thing I haven't locked in the MAC so far. Let's jump over to Central Michigan, who I am kind of like, I do think this team is going to be a lot better this year, but man, I remember doing the preview of Central Michigan, and I said, "Damn, the schedule's brutal. Schedule is pretty fucking brutal."
Here's one team that I really have no idea what to expect. I mean, they've been so wishy-washy from year to year. Last year, they only won 4 games. The year before that, they won 9. The year before that, just 3. The year before that, 8. So they seem to be good like every other year. I know you can't, follow that pattern, but if that was the case, then they might be better than expected this year.
Well, I can tell you this. I think I actually think last year they were better than their record. I really believe that. But the schedule, the non-con.
Yeah, it's tough.
Just so you guys know, the non-con, Michigan State. Hey, I mean, that game could be sneaky.
I saw that line today. It's Michigan State minus 14.5.
I'll take the points, but
I'm gonna lay the points.
Yeah,
Michigan State usually, with these directional schools, they just overpower them.
Central Michigan kept it close with Oklahoma State a year ago, right? Wasn't that a 14-point game? So you cover by that hook.
I think that was some backdoor action to cover that last year.
Only lost at Penn State by 19.
Yeah.
And just saying. I think they're a decent team, but yeah, I'll take Michigan State to win that one. So 0-1, and then you have to circle this one. New Hampshire is projected to win the CAA. They made the FCS playoffs a year ago. This is a dangerous game because you have Notre Dame on deck, and I'll take Central Michigan to win this, but I do not feel good about this game. To me, like they're at a very similar level.
Well, they better win this one because, like you mentioned, at Notre Dame is next, and after that is at South Alabama. I don't see Central Michigan winning that either. So I think 1-4 out of conference is what we're looking at.
0-4. 0-4, you mean?
I'm sorry, 1-3 out of conference because they're going to beat New Hampshire.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't even dude, New Hampshire's good. That's a good team. Like they better not overlook that.
Right. And you better get that win. If you have any dreams of hitting that over and going bowling, you better beat New Hampshire in week 2. Yeah.
So I'll say 1-3 as well in the non-con. They play all 4 of the non-con in a row. So it's at Michigan State, home to New Hampshire, at Notre Dame, at South Alabama, and then home to Eastern Michigan. The Eastern Michigan game, they could beat Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, I think they split with Eastern Michigan and at Buffalo.
Okay, so that puts us at 2.
Yep, 2-4.
And then they get Akron and Ball State. I mean, split.
Maybe get one of those.
Yeah, split. Three wins heading into the bye.
3 of 5
with 4 games left. Home to Northern Illinois. I'll give them this one.
Okay.
4.
Okay.
Yeah. At Western Michigan, 5.
All right, maybe 5.
At Ohio and home to Toledo.
Probably not.
I mean, what's our number here?
5.5.
Give me the over.
I'm on the under, and if you're at the over, it's plus 125. So you're looking good there because it's minus 150 with the under. Central Michigan is the team I feel least confident about in the whole division this year. So the whole conference this year. So I'm staying very far away from the team.
Oh yeah, this is an anti-lock. This is one
the furthest thing from a lock.
Yeah. This is an anti-lock. Okay, now we jump over to the likes of who's next? What is it? 6.5? Is that the next one? Northern Illinois, Rocky Lombardi. Look, he's related to Vince Lombardi. Over. That's it. All right. He's also 74 years old. This guy was once at Michigan State in the Nick Saban era. Because I mean, dude, how old is Rocky Lombardi? He's in his 7th college football season.
I think it's his 6th year, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
Either way, the dude is very experienced. He used to be the Michigan State Sparty. Yeah, they might have the best offensive line in the whole MAC. They return all 5. They've been very up and down under Hammock, also similar to Central Michigan. It seems like every other year is good. Last year, what did they do last year? Not much. They won 3 games last year.
He got knocked out for the season though.
Yeah, exactly.
Once again, these MAC quarterbacks go down. They can fuck up your whole your whole locks here because look, Rourke out for the season, Gabbert out for the season, Lombardi out for the season. So things it gets wacky in the MAC. But look, they're the opposite. So in 2021, when they won the MAC, they won like 9 of their games by like 6 points or less.
That's right.
Well, last year they lost. I want to say, let me just quickly pull this up. So they lost to Tulsa by 3, Vanderbilt by 8, Kentucky only by 8. I'm sorry, Vanderbilt by 10, Kentucky by 8. Double overtime loss to Ball State by 6. 7-point loss at Ohio. 6-point loss to Miami, Ohio. For some reason though, Akron, not a problem. Akron waxed them by 32. Buddy, they play a shit ton of close games. Rocky Lombardi's super experienced, so I lean over without even looking at the schedule, just because if he stays healthy. Yeah.
If you're trying to compare Central Michigan to Northern Illinois, I trust the quarterback play for the Huskies a lot more than the Chippewas. So I am kind of thinking a bounce back year for them.
Best schedule too. Best schedule in the non-con.
Yeah, for sure. Because you could potentially win 3,
dude. You could win 4.
Well,
let me build you this case.
No, Northern Illinois is not going to win 4. If they were better,
it's
maybe
highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely. But dude, they get. Let's just go through it because this is hilarious. They're at Boston College, week 1. They played Boston College twice in the past 6 years. Both field goal losses to Boston College, right? So that's going to be a game. You know that, right? You know that game, like that is a winnable game. Right.
Agreed.
Then they play Southern Illinois at the Missouri Valley. Good FCS school. Shout out to Stone Labanowitz. But guess what happened? Northwestern just hired Southern Illinois' defensive coordinator yesterday. Yeah. That means it's never great to lose a coordinator. We saw this with Old Dominion last year.
True.
I love and Southern Illinois did win the last time they played Northern Illinois. I love this game on the schedule. Directional game. I favor Northern Illinois. I think they'll be 1-1 because I'm going to say Boston College.
I'm with you
by a field goal yet again. But did you know, I think it was in the past 5-6 years, they went into Lincoln and won because they go to Nebraska. Now this is Matt Rule's home opener, but it is a brand new head coach. I mean, I'll take Nebraska to win this, but
I think you have to, but certainly there's not a surefire loss out of conference, which is strange to say for a MAC school.
Yeah. Well, and then Tulsa's breaking in a brand new head coach too. And
that's winnable also.
They get out of their 4 non-con games, they get Boston College, which is always great for any school in the nation to see. then you get a team that just lost their defensive coordinator. And then you get 2 coaches that are brand new in the month of September. Absolutely fucking genius non-con schedule. I got them 2-2 though.
Okay. All right. 2-2.
2-2. Then they head to the Glass Bowl back-to-back away at Toledo and at Akron. Man, it's tough.
I'm gonna have them dropping both these.
I'll join you. 2-4.
Yeah.
Home to Ohio, dude. This schedule is now in the MAC. It's actually a tough schedule, but home to Ohio, home to Eastern Michigan.
I say they beat Ohio here. Same thing I said about Toledo. Ohio obviously looks like the class of the East, but it's not like they're head and shoulders above these other MAC schools. They're not going to go undefeated in conference play. So they're going to drop a couple. So you want to look at possible road trips that are tough. The trip to Northern Illinois is tough. I'm going to go upset here. Huskies win this one.
Yeah, I got a 1-1 there at home. Maybe even 2-0.
1-1.
1-1. So
I'm
that's
at
what
1, 2, 3 wins so far
at the bye, and you have 4 games left. So 3-5 at the bye. What's our total again? What did I say? 5.5?
6.5.
Whoo! Then they head to Kelly Short Stadium, maybe the worst name in all of stadiums. I favor Central Michigan, man.
I think they can win 3 of these last 4, which would get me to 6, right?
Yeah, I'm on the under 6-6.
You know what? I'm going to go over here. Somehow they pull out another one that we don't
Boston
expect.
College game. The Boston College game. I mean, that's the one.
That
right
could
there.
be the one. Maybe it's at Akron, or they're going to pull out one that we don't expect. If you're on the under, if you want to bet it, you're laying a ton of juice at -165, which is the most I've seen so far in this conference. So I don't know.
This is another anti-lock to me.
So far, we're locked up here.
All right, now we jump over to the Buffalo Bulls. Maurice Lindquist. They lost a lot, but Cole Snyder's pretzel is back at quarterback.
Only 5 starters returning on offense and 5 on defense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is a team that they surprised me last year. We were on the under on them, right? And they made a bowl.
Well, in both years, I think they've been a little bit better than I expected without being good. if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes plenty of sense. So the non-con at Wisconsin, but they do get Wisconsin the first game going to the Dairy Raid. They're going to lose.
Yeah, I think so.
They're home to Fordham, an FCS playoff team, but they lost Tim DeMorat and both their wideouts, so that will be a win.
I think so.
Then they're home to the Flaming Libs of Liberty.
I mean,
brand new head coach September. I'm still taking Liberty.
You know what? I'm feeling generous here. Buffalo pulls the upset.
Wow. So I got them 1-2. You got them 2-1. Then they head down to Cajun Field in Lafayette, Louisiana. This will be a loss. I got them. I got them 1-3 in the non-con.
2-2.
Then they're at Akron, which I already hit on. Akron circle this one. 1-4.
I'm with you. 2-3.
Home to Central Michigan and home to Bowling Green. I say
they get one of them.
Yeah, that'll be their second win. At Kent State, that's another win. That's 3.
So that's 4 for me, I believe.
3 for me. Then they get a bye week. Then they're at Toledo. This is a brutal end of the schedule.
Yeah, it really
is. At Toledo, loss. Home to Ohio, loss. At Miami, Ohio, loss. Home to Eastern Michigan, maybe. I'm on the under.
I was squarely on the under, and now that I look at it, I mean, this is I think it's lock potential.
It is.
They won 6 last year, which still wouldn't have hit an over. I mean, this is year 3 now for Lindquist, right?
I could be talked into a lock here.
Man,
let's wait. Let's wait and see at the end. Let's wait and see at the end.
I told myself, don't bet a whole bunch of MAC team totals. I tell myself this at the beginning of every year.
You can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. And look, it's something about the MAC that's beautiful. All right, let's talk about
it's a little bit of juice, -125 on the under. Not too bad. It's tempting.
Let's talk about the Miami, Ohio Redhawks, buddy. Actually, before I do that, let me tell you that the college football experience, Maction baby, 2023 season preview episodes brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, the NFL season is right around the corner, and Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL player props. It's also available in a ton of different markets. Plus, there's plenty of opportunities to win with their daily MLB contests. And of course, make sure you enter Best Ball Mania, where first place gets $3 million. Head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Once again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. All right. We are back. Oh, 3802 saying, play that lock music for him. We might get there on the Buffalo Bulls. But I want to talk about this Redhawks team. I just previewed this team. All right. I just previewed Chuck Martin and the Miami, Ohio Redhawks. And I am intrigued because the defense was good last year.
And they returned 9.
Yeah. The defense was good, and they do return 9 and
on defense, not total, because they returned 7 on offense. So that's 16 returning starters. Pretty good.
They do lose Hippenhammer though, who was a stud, Mac Hippenhammer. But I like the non-con. This might be an easier. No, it's probably slight. It's not as easy as Northern Illinois.
Yeah,
but it's close. It's close.
I think it's a pretty obvious 2-2 with a chance of maybe 3-1.
Well, you're at Miami, Miami, Florida, week 1, where no one goes to those games. All right. So, I mean, look, Miami, Florida should dominate that game, but Miami is Miami for a reason. They lost to Middle Tennessee by double digits last year. All right. I'll take Miami, Florida to win that game, but and 3802 saying Take Miami, Ohio, the real Miami over the fake Miami.
Here we go.
I mean, dude, that's not a crazy the way that Miami, Ohio played defense last year. I'm like, they could be in that game.
Well, what's more likely? They win at Miami, or in week 3 they win at Cincy?
Well, and that's a rivalry game too. And Cincinnati,
It was close last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I
Last
think
year
Cincinnati pulled away late, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, and remember Miami, Ohio did beat Northwestern last year. So I will say, so look, at Miami, Florida, let's say they lose. At UMass the very next week, they open up the season on the road 3 straight weeks. At UMass is winnable. I think it's a win. 1-1?
Yeah.
At
And
Cincinnati.
So last year it was 24-17 at halftime. Cincinnati was winning by a touchdown at half, and then Cincinnati outscored Miami, Ohio 14-0 in the second half, 138-17. But I felt like that game was closer than what it was, or what it ended to be. So, but potential upset in one of those spots. But I guess I'm going to be conservative here and say they're 2-2.
Yeah,
after beating Delaware State in week 4.
Yeah. So at UMass, then at Cincinnati, then home to Delaware State. So 2-2.
Look at these next 3 games, man.
This is genius. This is fucking genius. At Kent State, win 3-2. Home to Bowling Green, 4-2. At Western Michigan, 5-2. Momentum, a real thing. And they're hosting the MAC champs on October 21st. 6-2, buddy. Calling it.
Oh, I'd say they lose that one and go 5-3.
At Ohio after that.
5-4.
I do have them losing that one. Bye week, and then they're home to Akron, home to Buffalo, at Ball State. Dude, they could win all of those.
I'm gonna go 6-4, 7-4, 7-5.
I'm on the over. I am on the over. We're agreeing way too much here.
I swear. Jeez, there was a couple of them that I think it was the Central Michigan and Northern Illinois games we differed. So minus 165 on the over. I don't feel good enough about this one to lock it, but in general, I'm pretty high on Miami this year. I think it's safe to say that they'll have the best defense in the MAC.
Yeah, and it's a big year for Chuck Martin.
Yeah.
If he wants to get extended. So let's hop on over and talk now about the Eastern Michigan Eagles and my boy Chris Creighton. You're my boy, Chris Creighton. Man, this team is always hard as shit to predict, man. Every game, and I do mean every fucking game, will be a 1-score game. All right. Like, go back and look at this guy's career at Eastern Michigan. I don't care if they're playing Alabama. It's a 1-score game. All right. The non-con. Okay. Home to Howard in Ypsilanti on Friday, September 1st.
This is a pretty good out of conference also.
Yes, dude, they could win. Dude, they have won at Arizona State last year. The year before, I believe it was at Purdue. They won. They've won at Illinois. They've won at Rutgers. Watch out, PJ Fleck, week 2.
Now, not a lot coming back. Only 4 stars return on offense, 7 on defense. Their experience chart is 9th in the MAC. I kind of like Austin Smith at quarterback though. What are your thoughts on Austin Smith? He's not the best passer in the world, but
he's a gamer. He's a gamer.
That's a good way to describe him.
Now it's not. Can I talk about this? They avoid Ohio and Miami, Ohio and Bowling Green, even though I think Bowling Green's ass. Bowling Green did make a bowl a year ago, right? So Miami, Ohio, and Ohio, I think are legit contenders. So the fact that they don't play them.
And the fact that they get Kent State from the East also definitely helps.
Yeah. So we got them beating Howard, correct?
Yes.
At Minnesota. Let's say loss, even though watch out.
Yeah.
Home to UMass. Now they almost lost to UMass last year. So then once again, this is my point, is like they need to take these. It's Creighton ball.
One more thing about that Minnesota game is that the next week Minnesota travels at UNC. It could kind of be a little bit of a look ahead spot also. So
I got them 2-1, and then they head to Jacksonville State. On the Jacksonville State preview, I took Jacksonville State.
I'm gonna say they go 3-1 outside the league. They either beat Minnesota or Jacksonville State on the road. One of the two.
I could see it. But but I'm saying 2-2. They got back-to-back away after Jacksonville State at Kelly Shorts Stadium in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. That's a true 50-50 game.
I think I'm going to split these next ones between Central Michigan and Ball State and say 3 and 3.
No. Central Michigan and Ball State, sure. And that, for you, it'd be 4 wins for you. For me, it would be 3.
You're right.
Then they're home to Kent State. Win. That's 4 for me, 5 for you.
Yep.
At Northern Illinois, I believe I called for Eastern Michigan to win this one.
I'll say loss.
So that puts us at 4. Home to Western Michigan, 5.
Yep.
They get a bye week, and their 3 remaining opponents are at Toledo. Loss. They're going to go 6-6, dude.
Originally I was thinking the over. As I dive heavier into, I think they probably go 7-5. They probably end right on the number. So what's more likely? They win 8. I was giving them one of those out of conference road games too. I think I'm going to switch and go under.
Yeah. So after the bye week, it's at Toledo, home to Akron, at Buffalo. I will take the. I think they're going to go bowling. I honestly really expect them to go bowling.
Agreed.
I will lean under on EMU. Now we talk about the Bobcats of Ohio and Kurtis Rourke.
Can I say I was surprised to see 7.5?
I was too, because I feel like everyone's kind of. And I actually think week 0 is a very, very winnable game. I would still favor San Diego State.
They're favored by 4. It feels to me like a field goal game. I'm going to take the points here. Now, I did mention that I root for Ohio, so take it with a grain of salt here. But I think it's a close game.
This could be the best non-con because San Diego State week 0. I like the fact you're playing a week 0 game because you're going to have a 2 bye weeks, but I could see them winning this. I'll take San Diego State. I like the non-con.
It got easier if Hunter Dekkers.
That's what I was about to say. And I think there's a few players on Iowa State that got part of that probe. Home to Long Island week 2. Win.
Yeah, of course.
1-1 to start the season. Then they're at Florida Atlantic, but it's week 2 for FAU, week 3 for Ohio. And guess what? Tom Herman is a brand new head coach. Now I'm still taking FAU.
Yeah, I mean, this is Ohio won at home by 3, 41-38 last year. Down in Florida, I think I have them dropping it.
And then home to Iowa State, where you could have. That's week 3 for Iowa State, not week 4. There's a strong chance Iowa State's going to have a shit ton of players suspended by then.
I kind of want to give Ohio a 2-2 out of conference schedule.
Me too.
Thinking
Let's
they
do
get
it.
one of them.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I think they're going to get.
This offense is going to be cranking, man. At first I was a little worried if Kurtis Rourke was going to be healthy. It sounds like in the spring game he was dressed, he didn't play. It sounds like he's good to go now. And then Sia Bangura, the running back from Bowie, Maryland, shout out to him. That guy's a baller, over 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns last year. Our guy Sam Wiglu's, the transfer from Ohio State. He had almost 900 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 of 5 offensive line back. This Ohio offense is going to be lights out.
Dude, they're going 2-2 in the non-con.
Okay,
maybe even 3-1.
Now the defense pretty much sucked last year.
True.
So they need improvement on that side of the ball. There's going to be a lot of shootouts, but let's go 2-2. I'm with you.
2-2, and then after the Iowa State game, they're at the Deut taking on Bowling Green, 3-2. Right.
Agreed.
Then this is one of their bye weeks. Then they host Kent State, 4-2.
Agreed.
Then they're at Northern Illinois. I gave that one to Northern Illinois, so I'll say 4-3. Then they are home to Western Michigan. I will say 5-3.
Agreed.
Home to Miami, Ohio. I think we gave that one to Ohio, correct?
Okay.
6-3. This is the second bye week. The genius of playing the week 0 thing. And then you're at Buffalo, which I think Ohio's better than Buffalo. So I will say 7-3, right? And then you're home to Central Michigan and at Akron. That's tricky. I kind of think I kind of think you could go 7-5. I will call for the over because I think they could go 3-1 in the non-con. It wouldn't even shock me if they went 4-0 in the non-con. Now, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just saying.
This team went 9-3 last year, and they beat Wyoming in the bowl game without their starting quarterback and all MAC player. This team is going to win over 7 games. They're going to at least go 8-4. I'm on the Bobcats. I'm going to lock it up.
Woo! Locking it up. NC Nick says Tim Albin's my guy. Now, Nick, we should preface this by saying NC Nick, big time Ohio Bobcat fan, thought about getting season tickets. All right. Final team to talk about is the Toledo Rockets, the reigning champs. Patty C's Toledo Rockets. That's his favorite team in the MAC. Everyone's got to have a favorite MAC team. 9.
I thought Patty C's was Ball State.
No, we labeled it, but he said he disagreed with that. He said Toledo is the team he likes most.
Really?
He's a front runner,
Yeah. Figures.
Now I'll say this: Toledo, Jason Candle, their schedule, they avoid playing Ohio, but they also
pretty nice out of conference.
Yeah. So let's get to it. The win total is at 9. The non-con at Illinois, home to Texas Southern, home to San Jose State, and at the McGurk taking on UMass. That's the non-con. But let's go in order of the schedule because at Illinois week 1, man, dude. If Illinois, they don't have Ryan Walters. Now they did hire Jim Leonard, so I kind of think Illinois is going to win this game. But Toledo has won at Arkansas before. They have won at Notre Dame. They lost by 3 in the final seconds.
Last year at Ohio State, they lost 77-21, but we'll forgive that.
Yeah,
because the Fighting Illini are not Ohio State.
Yeah, but they do have Brett Bielema, and I just see this as a body blow game. I will take Illinois to win.
Yeah, I think I agree.
1-0. Now Texas Southern, they're not good. They're actual ass in the FCS. So 1-1. Toledo beats Texas Southern. Now comes a game that I think is very pivotal for the over or the under when Brent Brennan, Brent Brennan. Yeah. Come into Toledo, Ohio, Chevin Cordiero. This is a game, buddy. This is a game.
The last time I remember San Jose State going to a MAC school, it was coming off the heels of that 2020 where they went like 7-1, really good year. They went into Western Michigan, lost 23-3 in a very disappointing year. Cause I was on San Jose State, the over that year, and they didn't come through for me. They left a bad taste in my mouth. I'm going to go Toledo.
I think San Jose State's a better football team. And I think they're a more physical football team. So I will take San Jose State, but that is a game. This is to me that's a field goal game to me. So I got them 1-2, right? Then they're home to Western Michigan, win 2-2. Home to Northern Illinois, win 3-2. At UMass, win 4-2.
I have them 5-1, right?
Yeah. Woo. They have three games in a row though in the middle of the season on the road. After at UMass, they have at Ball State and at Miami, Ohio. They're going to lose one of those.
I say they lose both of those, and I'm at 5-3. So you're at 5-3 also then.
Yeah. And then they're home to Buffalo, win. Home to Eastern Michigan, win.
Okay.
At Bowling Green, win.
Okay.
At Central Michigan on a short week. Yeah. That's
8-4. Give me the under.
I'm on the under. The under too.
It's at 9. So is this team really going to win 10 games? I don't think so.
No, I'm on the under. I feel pretty good about it. I think the MAC, they benefited off the fact that all those quarterbacks were out last year.
And if you look, Toledo had a couple of questionable losses down the stretch where they lost to Bowling Green and Western Michigan last year. They also lost to Buffalo last year. So even though Toledo's the best team, they're favorites for a reason. Like I said before, they're not head and shoulders above these teams. They're going to drop a couple in conference play.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about the under here. I actually think you could lock up this under.
No, I've locked up enough in the MAC.
How many locks do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 4 that we did.
So I have Ohio. I have Kent State. I have Ball State.
What was the team? What was the team?
Michigan.
We were thinking about locking up one. Who was it? It was Buffalo.
Under. I know.
I'll join you. If you go, I'm in.
On Buffalo?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Fuck it.
Let's go. 3802 is right. He was right all along. So look, before we get out of here, I know we're running late here, but curious, who is your MAC championship game?
I'm not picking Ohio versus Toledo. Okay.
I don't think it's going to be Ohio versus Toledo.
Let's just get that out the way right now. I'm taking Ohio, but if you want to have a little bit of fun with this, I mean, you could really not take either of those schools.
I'm telling you, the Akron play is intriguing.
You know
I also
what?
think Miami, Ohio is
I like Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, and this doesn't necessarily jive with my over/under play, but Eastern Michigan has never been to the MAC championship game. This is the first time they do it.
And love it.
And they play Ohio.
Little battle of the green teams in the MAC. Give me Toledo against Miami, Ohio in the MAC championship. I want to say Akron is I almost threw out Akron right there.
If you want to look at some odds here, so just say to win the East, Akron is plus 1,300.
Come on, let's get in on that. You don't have to win the MAC championship. Plus 1,300. Let's go.
I like Miami of Ohio at plus 360 to win the East.
Yeah, I love that actually.
If you're looking at the West, Eastern Michigan plus 380. I like Ball State plus 1,200.
Yeah,
to win the West. And then if you're looking at conference winner, meaning they win the championship game, I mean, Toledo and Ohio at plus 170, plus 280. There's not enough juice. I mean, it's a MAC. You can't go with a favorite in the MAC. I don't think.
Yeah.
Dude, so.
Central Michigan, the ultimate. I mean, there's a lot of value. I see a ton of value.
The team with the third best odds is Buffalo at plus 650. I don't see that at all. I like Miami of Ohio at plus 850, Eastern Michigan plus 850.
I don't think Northern
plus 3,000, Akron plus 3,500. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, like the only ones I would say you're throwing away money, you're burning money to me is Buffalo, Bowling Green, Western Michigan, and Kent State.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Northern Illinois at plus 1,400. Another thing is Northern Illinois' top wideout was out for the year last year too.
And I mentioned they probably have the best offensive line in the MAC. So there's a lot of juicy potential futures in the MAC.
Get yourself a MAC team.
Always is.
Get yourself a MAC team and throw some money on it.
There we go.
Let's go, folks. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. We are on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Remember, we'll also host the FCS College Football Experience, the College Basketball Experience, every single night of the college basketball season. I am here. NC Nick's here a lot of those nights, and we're talking college hoops year fucking round over there. Subscribe to that podcast because Maction college basketball, fantastic. All right. Subscribe to the College Baseball Experience. Also check out the Big 12 Experience. Cincinnati fans out there, maybe check out the Big 12 Experience where we come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. So those are all separate podcast feeds, but we come together as one live on YouTube. Check us out. Also give NC Nick a follow on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Subscribe, tell a friend, and we will be doing the Big 12 next. So, yes, as Noah says here, thanks for tuning in. Drop a like and subscribe to us. It means a ton. Yes, and check out the SGPN app. And we just had Phil Steele on the show. Go listen to that episode. Phil Steele talking college football with us. You know he loves the Maction. So check out that and come talk Maction in the Discord. We love Mac football over here. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/discord. Sports Gambling Podcast doing all their NFL previews. Go check out those as well. All right, folks, until next time, this is the College Football Experience MAC 2023 conference preview and picks episode. You better start thinking about yours, and we are out of here.